Hey everyone, this is Peter Hall.
My name is Josh Hall.
Today
and
we're
the movie maniacs.
Right.
We're not gonna do that. We'll review that anything under the sun thing. But we are the movie maniacs.
Right. Anyway, we're talking about the Black Panther movie. Me, my brother, and a friend of ours just went and saw it yesterday at opening day. It's as good as any Marvel movie I've ever seen. It's one of the best Marvel movies. I'm definitely gonna get it when it comes out. I have all the Marvel movies. Anyway, so even if it wasn't that good, I probably still would have bought it just because we already have all the Marvel movies on DVD and streaming.
If it focused on black identity politics like I was afraid it would, I wouldn't watch it again.
I mean, I bought Spider-Man: Homecoming, even though that kind of focused kind of on identity politics and stuff like that.
Anyway, because like the media surrounding the release of Black Panther was focused too much on black identity politics, and it was coming from the news media and social media, I was worried that the movie itself would focus too much on black identity politics and like imply that white people were racist and stuff, and that didn't happen, thank goodness. Although black identity politics and black supremacy was a major theme because Black Panther's cousin was a black supremacist and he was the villain.
Right. The spoilers. The whole gist of the movie was about how like this one guy who was a long lost son of the country Wakanda, which is a fictional country created for Black Panther. The main villain of this movie was a long lost son of Wakanda who was cousin to King T'Challa.
Yeah.
He grew up in America, probably in like New York or something. I think he grew up in maybe Harlem as a kid.
But the movie opened in California in 1992 in Compton.
It didn't say where it opened. It just said 1992.
It was in Compton.
I didn't see where it was. I just saw the year 1992. And
it also said Compton, California.
I didn't see that. Whatever. Okay, so anyway, his cousin grew up in America because King T'Challa's father had sent his uncle, T'Challa's uncle, to America as a spy, and his uncle was living under an assumed identity in America. He married
eventually
and had
decided to turn traitor against his kingdom.
Well, he thought he was doing Wakanda a favor.
Yeah.
Anyway, T'Challa's uncle helped an arms dealer named what was Klau's first name?
Ulysses.
Ulysses Klau.
Played by Andy Serkis.
Yeah, T'Challa's uncle, Jobungu, or Jobanu?
Jobu.
Whatever. T'Challa.
It had an N, but it was silent.
Jobanu.
No, Jobu. Prince Jobu.
Whatever. T'Challa's uncle helped Ulysses Klaue steal vibranium and gave him the knowledge on how to create weapons from vibranium. So T'Challa's father came back to bring him to Wakanda to face justice, and so like T'Challa's father was forced to kill his brother because his brother had betrayed Wakanda, and T'Challa's cousin basically grew up as an orphan as a result of that, and so he swore vengeance on T'Challa and vowed to become king of Wakanda and conquer the world
for Africa.
So because he thought that he'd be helping
black kind.
Yeah, minorities and stuff by overthrowing white people everywhere or whatever.
More specifically black kind.
Yeah. So that's the main gist of the movie. But like I said, the movie was pretty good.
I did not like when T'Challa's sister like made racial quips directed against white people, and Martin Freeman, who played a CIA agent, was at the receiving brunt of it. There was a scene where, like, in a casino in South Korea, where like Martin Freeman helped T'Challa and his sister and a whole bunch of secret agents for Wakanda try and apprehend Killmonger, who was Shaw's cousin, and Ulysses Clow, but they got away. And one of them shot Martin Freeman's character in the back, and the bullet got lodged in his spine. So Shaw's general, who almost got shot, but Martin Freeman, I mean, his character like jumped in front of the bullet and took a bullet in the spine. So she and Chaw wanted to save his life, and they brought him back to Wakanda. And Chaw's sister was like, "Great, another broken white boy for me to fix." I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And then like when he woke up, Peter.
Sorry.
Then like when Martin Freeman's character woke up, she's like, "You're finally awake, colonizer," and stuff like that.
Okay, probably the worst thing about this movie was the politicization of it. Like before it came out, like there was this tweet. I'm gonna read some. I'm gonna read some tweets about it. Like there was this tweet that was just absolutely stupid.
Let's send our videos to Paul Joseph Watson and Ben Shapiro.
Okay.
I also want to send a video to Chris Stuckman because he did a review on Black Panther and he really liked it, but he didn't talk about the race angle.
Okay, there's this tweet from the stupid idiot on YouTube, on Twitter. And I don't know why I said YouTube. There's this tweet from this stupid idiot on Twitter. His name is Tyler Baines Cadbury, and he says, "White people shouldn't be allowed to review Black Panther lest their innate racial bias."
Did he respond to you?
No. He said, "White people shouldn't be allowed to review Black Panther lest their innate racial bias subconsciously reflect in their reviewing. White people simply can't be impartial. People of color only, please." So then I said, "My twin brother and I are going to go see it tomorrow. We're not even going to pay full price." We ended up having to pay full price anyway, but at the time, I thought Josh was going to be able to get like discounted tickets for like $2, which is like $11.50 or something. He's a janitor at a university, and he's buying tickets for $2. Gosh, us white boys are going to be raining on the Black Pride. We're so evil. And then I said, "My twin brother, a friend, and I just went and saw the Black Panther and loved it. But I guess to dipshits like you, that's cultural appropriation, right?" So, yeah, the politicization of this movie is dumb. And then there's like a New York Times article. I'm gonna have to find that one. There's like a New York Times article about it. Okay. It says, "The New York Times, at best, Black Panther costumes speak to the enthusiastic embrace of a black superhero. At worst, they could be perceived as an unwitting form of cultural appropriation."
This is stupid, okay? They're saying that Black Panther was Marvel's black superhero. Wrong! It was Blade, way back in 1998. Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, the first. Okay, the many meanings of Black Panther's
and
mask.
the Blade comics came out in the 80s. Then you have Spawn, but his...
When did Black Panther come out? Black Panther came out, the comics came out before that, right?
60s, but like, we're talking about film, but then you had Spawn. He was a black superhero, but that's kind of irrelevant because he was undead and there were like other Hellspawns before and after him.
Okay, whatever. Okay. The many meanings of the Black Panther's mask. In an interview with BuzzFeed News in the fall, Sterling K. Brown, a star of Black Panther, thrilled at the prospect of children black and white dressing up as the title character. "This Halloween, the first time I see a white kid dressed up as Black Panther. I'm taking a picture," he said. "You better believe I'm taking a picture because that's the crossover." Chadwick Boseman, who plays Black Panther in the film, had already witnessed said crossover. He said in the same interview, "I've seen little kids dressed up as T'Challa. I've seen pictures, and I've seen it in person."
Wait, is Chadwick Boseman a black supremacist? What the hell?
No, he just said that he's seen kids dressed up as Black Panther.
Okay.
Black Panther costumes, whether the character's full raiment or just as claws and mask, are on toy stores' shelves and of course on Amazon. In anticipation of the film's release, February 16th, at best the character get-ups speak to the enthusiastic embrace of a black superhero. At worst, they could be perceived as an unwitting form of cultural appropriation, which has in recent years become the subject of freighted discourse. What does this dual significance mean for children? Perhaps more urgently, what does it mean for the parents who will buy the costumes for them?
This is stupid.
As parents, or even as the people creating costumes, we need to be very aware of what that says Bridget Vittrup, an associate professor of early childhood development and education at Texas Women's University. There's not a whole lot of black superheroes, so this is a really important thing, especially for black kids growing up.
If we're gonna get technical, the first black superhero premiered in the 1930s, and it was done by DC Comics, and it was Green Lantern. He was eventually replaced by Hal Jordan, who's more famous. But
I thought Hal Jordan was the first Green Lantern.
No, the first Green Lantern was black.
How do you know?
I read about it.
Alright, whatever. Look that up and show it to me later.
And it was in the 1930s. But the first black superhero from Marvel that was at least committed to film was Blade, and it was done by Wesley Snipes, and that was way back in 1998. And then there were 2 sequels, so what the fuck? This is stupid.
Many parents are now split on how Black Panther's blackness should figure into their children's relationship to the character. Some argue that placing racial boundaries around expressions of fandom is unnecessary, and pretty stupid too. I'm actually wondering now what it might be like for that parent who's not of color if his kid comes home and says, "I want to dress up like Black Panther."
Who would care?
Yeah, people are thinking too much about this crap, said Katrina Jones-Thurman, the director of human resources at Vimeo. When I look at it, I see no reason why a kid who's not black can't dress like Black Panther.
I mean, like Ben Shapiro said, I don't watch Batman or Superman or Spider-Man and say, "Ooh, my favorite white superheroes." That's just stupid.
Just like our kid who's not white dresses up like Captain America. I think the beautiful thing about comics is they do transcend race in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I could see a black Captain America in the future.
There's a black Captain America in the comics already.
There is?
Yep. The comics are focusing more on, like...
Is it like an alternate universe?
I don't know. He's taking over for, like, Steve... God, I forgot to get... What's the character black... What's the, forgot his name. Steve Allen? No, what's Captain America's name? I forgot the character name.
Wait, is the guy who does Captain America, the actor Chris Evans, no longer doing it?
No, this is in the comics.
Oh.
Anyway, there's a black Captain America that takes over after, what's the character's name, Josh, for Captain America?
I don't know.
Steve something, right? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Anyway, the comics are focusing on, like, taking down a dictatorial caricature of Donald Trump. You didn't know about that?
That's stupid.
Mary D. McCauley, 29, a social media and marketing manager in Rockland County, New York, echoed that idea. She does not believe that her fiance's 7-year-old son Sawyer, who is white, sees the film or its characters through the lens of race. Sawyer himself, during the interview with Mr. McCauley, said sure when she asked if he'd like to dress up as Black Panther. For a white kid to be so open and judge based on the character's story and the personality and history, I think that's what's important, she said. But on the flip side, I think it's also great to have a black superhero you can identify and connect to. The character's history is unique, created by Stan Lee.
Who are both Jewish white guys, by the way.
The character's history is unique, created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby in 1966. Black Panther rules as the king of an African technological utopia known as Wakanda. Untouched by European invaders, Wakanda exists apart from the legacies of colonization and racism. Black history and black fantasy are central to the character, and the series has brought on prominent black writers, including Ta-Nehisi Coates, to deepen its significance over the last 50 years. Consequently, some parents have felt pressure to hammer home Black Panther's heroism through the lens of race.
That's stupid.
I'm conflicted, said Evan Narciss, a senior writer for the website IO9. He is completing Rise of the Black Panther, a 6-part comic series from Marvel that traces the character's early history. He has tried to explain some of that history to his 7-year-old daughter, but without delving too deeply into complex concepts like Western imperialism, which she may struggle to grasp. You want that white kid to be able to think that he can dress up in a Black Panther costume, because to that kid there's no difference between Captain America and Black Panther.
Which is true!
Mr. Narciss said, 45 said, but he added it also involves trying to explain what is special about T'Challa and Wakanda without racism. And it's like, can't do it. I couldn't do it. According to the ticketing site Fandango, Black Panther set a record among Marvel films for the most advanced tickets sold in a 24-hour period. It's projected to make a record-breaking $165 million over President's Day weekend, and comparisons to last year's Wonder Woman bode well for its reception and impact, particularly for black people.
I've been to Wakanda, and I mean, Wakanda's fictional. This is what Ben Shapiro was talking about.
White people have the privilege of
Read that tweet, Peter. I've been to Wakanda, and I may never recover. How can you go to a country that's fictional? You can't. It only exists in the Marvel universe. It's like Valverde. It only exists in, like, Predator, Commando, Die Hard 2. Then you have...
Alright. White people have the privilege of not constantly being reminded of their race in the United States. Not so true anymore. White people are always being reminded of their race now, where white is the majority, whereas a black person, you don't, Miss Vitrop said. She believes that parents in general, and white parents in particular, are reluctant to talk about race with young children. When they do, they often miss the chance to talk about inequality, even though research supports the idea that children develop an awareness of race and difference at a very young age.
We need to be colorblind to race.
Miss Vitrop was careful to add that dressing as Black Panther isn't inherently inappropriate or offensive. The character comes from an invented African country, and to wear his mask isn't quite the same as wearing blackface. However, at a moment where even more black heroes like Luke Cage and Black Lightning are finding their way into the limelight, Black Panther's relationship with the black community and its history creates an opportunity to teach non-black children about the black experience. Kids are not colorblind, she said. There's a lot of structural inequality in our society, and kids are noticing that. By not mentioning it, by not talking about it, we're essentially preserving the status quo. I think that, for the most part, unless kids are taught racism, kids are colorblind. We don't need to like open their eyes to like racism and then like create like all these different microaggressions that people do to hurt each other even when they're not really trying to.
Okay, Black Panther overall was a great film, but I did not appreciate the racial quips against white people that T'Challa's sister delivered to Martin Freeman.
Yeah, well, I could.
But those were only 2 scenes. It still kind of irritated me.
Yeah.
Didn't it irritate you? It was one thing when, like, Michael B. Jordan, who played Killmonger, did it. He's the villain. He's a black supremacist. It's one thing when the villain does it. I mean, Andy Serkis called Wakandans savages to Killmonger's face. I mean, I'm surprised black people aren't rioting about that. It's one thing when villains do it, but like when a protagonist who's supposed to be on the side of good makes racial quips in a movie, it's cringeworthy. And it doesn't matter who the racial target is. There should be outrage over it.
There's too much outrage. Anyway, basically, last thing I'm going to say about this movie is at the end, when T'Challa decides to, like, integrate Wakanda into the, wider society of the world of globalism and stuff like that, he says, in times of crisis, a wise man will build bridges, a foolish man will build, build barriers.
That was a slap against Donald Trump,
yeah.
Kind of, I guess.
Well, they didn't mention Donald Trump, but it is because of like the wall and stuff like that. But yeah, he said, in times of crisis, a wise man will build bridges, a foolish man will build barriers. There's good reasons to have both bridges and barriers. I mean, barriers have useful functions. Okay, there are reasons to keep people out or to keep people in. Okay, there are also reasons to like cross over and let people come to your side or go over to their side. There's a time and a place for everything. Barriers are important, and sometimes, unfortunately, we have need for them. Sometimes, unfortunately, we have to destroy bridges to keep people from crossing over that want to do us harm. So there's a time and a place for everything. Bridges are important, and so are barriers. They both have useful functions.
Okay, send our video to Ben Shapiro and Paul Joseph Watson.